Welcome to the podcast. I had Sudarshan on for this one. This one was all about Pokemon, as you will hear me warn at the start of the episode. I have to apologize for subpar audio quality on this one, but nevertheless, this was an extremely fun one, and one that I really enjoyed. Without further delay, I bring you episode 5 of the podcast. Okay, I'm happy to have Sudarshan on the podcast today. We think this is a really interesting topic, especially for me because I think it has a personal pull. I'm really excited to talk about it. So, yeah, Sudarshan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, hello.
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today is primarily about Pokemon. I don't expect this to be valuable to anyone who's not familiar with Pokemon because I expect this podcast to go pretty in depth and extremely specific to Pokemon. So, for anyone who's not too savvy about Pokemon, I think you were warned. Uh, so, I'm just going to jump right into it. How did you get started? Where did you get started with Pokemon and the entire obsession with Pokemon?
It all started back when Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald when they launched. I think it was about 2003. Yeah, that's when I started playing all these games. Uh, I never knew much about Pokemon before then, but I started Ruby first, and it was Hoenn, which was the first generation and the first region I played in. So yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I got on the Pokemon bandwagon a little bit earlier than that. I think it's interesting to note that as kids in India, we were like always a little late to the party compared to the Eastern world, I guess. But I was lucky enough to have an uncle in the United States who sent me the OG Game Boy Color, and I actually played Pokemon Red. I think that's like one of the earliest Pokemon games. Um, and yeah, like the obsession started really early for me. I also had a few cousins who were like, and I think similar to you, even more than Red. I think the most hours I spent was definitely on Hoenn. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel at that time on Game Boy Advance, the graphics. I don't know if you looked at it now, it's it's really old age, but compared to Pokemon Red on my Game Boy Color, it felt amazing. So yeah, I think even for me, the most hours is probably Hoenn. It's probably Emerald for me more than Ruby or Sapphire.
Yeah, same thing. I played Ruby Sapphire first, and then I started Emerald, and I spent a lot of time in Emerald. And yeah, I had a Sceptile that was level 100 on that. So you know how long I played the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then I discovered you could play it on an emulator and you could speed things up. Yep.
Yeah, I played it on an emulator all through the third gen and the remakes of the first gen. I never had a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance to play those games first. But yeah, I did get a Game Boy Advance and I played Fire Red on it. But playing on the emulator was better because you could speed it up. Yeah, you can finish the game faster.
Oh yeah. Pokemon definitely had a lot of pacing issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, let's just talk about some of our more favorite Pokemon, I guess. The more memorable ones that you've trained throughout the generations. Uh, for me, I wanna caveat this by saying that I'm not, even though I've played Pokemon for at least a decade and a half now,
Yeah.
I would never. consider myself to be a competitive player. I guess I never was tempted to get into online battles or anything like that. I just did it for the fun. Basically, I was not. I was a casual player who just liked training Pokemon. So uh, most of my favorite Pokemon might not be the best. Like if you're looking at it competitively, I guess I just like training cool looking Pokemon. I guess. Um, so um, as any kid who ever liked Pokemon, you have to say the first Pokemon that stands out has to be Charizard. Especially because the first game I ever won was the OG Red version. Uh, what about you? Like, what was that first ever Pokemon that you were like super attached to?
For me, it has always been Trico because I started the first game I played with a Trico, but I didn't play with Mudkip and the Torchic. But Trico always has a special place in my heart. And like you said, Charizard Gen 1, go to starter always.
Yeah, I think that's a given fact. Like, I agree
Yeah,
with you that like the first ever starter that you chose in the first ever Pokemon game you played, you'll always remember that.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think it was an obvious choice for both of us right there.
yeah.
Uh,
And I'm also partial towards fire types over grass and water. But yeah, some of the other starters do look cool, but I always try to go with the fire type on the other gens, apart from Gen 3. Yeah.
okay. I also did play the gold version. I think we're like doing a huge what do you call it, disfavor to the second
Oh
gen because
yeah, yeah,
it was a pretty good gen, and a lot of people still argue that that story is up there with the best Pokemon stories that was ever made. But even for I did manage to play the gold version on my Game Boy.
oh, that's
Uh,
nice.
so the, again, I don't know. Like it was a really good story, but I still feel like I liked Hoenn more. Um, and I honestly do not have as much of a connection to say the Totodiles and the Cyndaquils as I do with the other. But I'm not. I think it had some really cool legendaries. It had
Yeah,
uh,
they had Lugia,
Lugia,
Overhaul,
yeah,
yeah, and also the three legendary beasts. They looked really cool. They had cool designs, good
hmm
typing too. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I kind of want to take this off topic a bit, or maybe like a huge tangent here. But what do you think about having so many generations with new starters every single gen? I feel like, at least for me, when I was actively playing it as a kid, there was like four generations of Pokemon there, and every single generation meant something. And now we're at what? Are we at nine, eight?
Yeah.
And it feels like it's so easy for me to like forget a generation of Pokemon. Like the what was the one with the uh, Embor, Pignite,
Oh,
and that?
oh
Like
my God,
yeah, like that was such
black
a
and white. Yeah,
yeah, that was a forgettable generation for me.
yeah. Nobody remembers that. I mean, the games were not that memorable, and even the Pokemons were kind of meh. They're not that interesting looking. Yeah, you had a pig fire type, a snake grass type, and water samurai otter, which was weird. Yeah, not a good generation. Yeah.
I still did like Serperior though, but yeah, the actual point I was trying to make is: are there just too many generations with new starters? Maybe the next Pokemon game that they release, they should just let us pick one of the older starters. I don't know what your thoughts about that. Does every gen or every new Pokemon game require uh, new starters?
I mean, I'd agree with you on that because we have like 8 generations of Pokemon, and we have like 8 into 3 that many amount of starters. So I would say no more starter, but new Pokemons, yeah, and new or different story, yeah, that would be good, but not new starters every time.
Yeah, because I think like some of the starters never like they kind of disappear after that one game they were in. So
Yeah,
maybe
like
they
you
just
said, the black and white generation, nobody wants them. Everybody either wants the first generation, second generation, third generation, but not that particular one. Yeah.
even the second gen, like, and clearly Pokemon has a bias towards certain generations, right?
Yeah.
Not all of the generations are getting Mega Evolutions, which is kind of weird. Like, if you want, so clearly they prefer a few generations to the others. So why do you want to keep making Pokemon that you're not gonna improve on or you're not gonna pay attention to? Like even like the Totodiles and the Cyndaquils. Oh my god! And don't even talk about the.
Chikorita.
Oh yeah, that was something. I don't think anyone chose that.
Yeah,
But
it looked like a. I don't even know what to say about it. It looks like a flower in the final evolution. And how do you even categorize Chikorita? Is it a? I don't know. It's a leaf which becomes a flower. So yeah.
yeah, but again, like that Pokemon, those three Pokemon never received any love. They did not make an appearance back in any other game that I can think of, right at the back of the mind.
No,
And
it was
they,
always Gen 1 and Gen 3 which got all the
yeah,
love. And they still keep getting all the love because right now we have the what's it called? The Gigantamax. So you get
uh,
Gigantamax even for Gen 1, but you don't get anything for the other gens.
mm,
And you got Mega Evolution for Gen 1 and Gen 3. Yeah, Gen 2 never got the love it deserved, but I'd say they need to revisit Gen 2 again.
mm. Okay. All right, let's get back to some of our more favorite Pokemon. What do you think your the most memorable legendaries were?
For me, it was Rayquaza right at the bat. Yeah, best legendary ever. And then you get Kyogre and Groudon. So the best legendary trio for me over there. And the next one, um, I'd say the Gen 2. Yeah, they look really cool. They got good typings. And they were all under Ho-Ho, if I guess. So yeah, that was another interesting legendary. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think we're gonna be agreeing on a lot of things here because both of us seem to be heavily biased towards Gen 3.
Yeah,
I did like Rayquaza a lot, and even Groudon and Kyogre. Yeah, I thought that entire story,
was really good. Yeah.
yeah, and the way the Pokemon looked was that was a really good generation, at least for me. Um, I did also like um, um, the three dragons from Black and White. I guess the
Oh
Reshiram,
yeah,
Zekrom.
restaurant. Yeah,
Like I think those were the only good things to come out of that game. They had really cool
good
looking
dragon. Yeah.
dragon types. Um, and the biggest disappointments for me for Sword and Shield was actually the legendaries.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like
That
I felt like
rock.
it was such a lazy design,
Yeah.
and even Eternatus, I
Oh,
thought they could.
Eternatus. It doesn't even look like a Pokemon. It looks like a. I don't even know. It looks like sticks attached to sticks. Yeah. I'd say the new expansion pack legendary that looks even cooler than the Zamazenta and Zacian. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's been. I don't know. Sometimes they just They just do that.
I mean, the
Uh,
previous gen, not the previous gen, the one before that, Xerneas, Vivital, they were good. They were good designs. Yeah. But the Sun and Moon, they had like a weird, like legendaries, mythical, a lot of Pokemons over there, and Ultra Beast. Yeah, that's when Pokemon became kind of overboard. They went overboard with legendaries, mythical Pokemon, and then Ultra Beast. Yeah, they could have toned down a bit on Sun and Moon. Yeah,
that's the only game I haven't finished yet. I'm almost there, but that's the only game. So I haven't seen the legendaries on that yet, or haven't played with them yet.
yeah.
So probably won't hear me making too many comments about that. But I think you have. It's just unfair to not give a shout out to Mewtwo when you're talking about legendaries. It's just
Mewtwo is
like
way too
obvious.
overpowerful. I mean, the design is okay, but
I think the design is really good.
yeah, design is really good, but he is way too overpowerful. You can
I think
use him
that's
in any gen and single shot any Pokemon. That's how strong that Pokemon is.
Yeah, I think that's part of the. I think that's what the Pokemon company wants to go to with Mewtwo. They want
Yeah.
to. They clearly want it to be the strongest Pokemon there is, um, and like. I'm okay with that. I think it deserves to be the strongest Pokemon.
I
Uh,
would agree with you on that.
mhm. So yeah, that was guess kind of a background on our Pokemon experience, but I want the biggest chunk of this podcast to be about what we as long term Pokemon fans expect from the new Pokemon games moving forward. So I kind of want to steer the topic towards what you kind of expect in the next Pokemon game, especially given the fact that Nintendo has a console that can actually run real games now. We've seen that in the Breath of the Wild, so
Yeah.
there's just no excuse to not make a game that doesn't look good anymore. So, what are the things that you expect from an all-out new Pokemon game?
Okay. Um. So let's see. It's not Nintendo who's making the games. It's Game Freak, a part of Nintendo. So if they want to make a game which looks like Breath of the Wild, I'd say more of the wild area which they introduced in Sword and Shield, and more like Breath of the Wild kind of gameplay where you can just free roam the whole map instead of just a wild area. That'll be interesting. And little different Pokemon battles, not just the same move button mashing. Yeah,
I thought you would disagree on me with me on that. I think we've spoken about this in the past a little bit,
yeah,
but yeah. So you do think that the battle system has to change completely?
yeah. Because I've seen the anime and comparing that to the games, it's totally different. Because the anime, the moves miss, and then you can counter a move with another move. But here, you just have to keep like play with turns. That has to change, and you keep this like using like four different moves. That's it. Maybe they can have another move, change the way we battle. That'll be good. Yeah.
So, but I think this is a common argument on the internet, though. Like every time someone says you need to have like real time battles, they kind of point you towards what's that deal called the Pokken tournament. Uh,
Okay.
so, and honestly, that game is not that good. Like it doesn't feel like a real Pokemon battle. Like there's no strategy involved in that. Like you could just it feels like Mortal Kombat or something like that, where you can button mash your way to victory. So I feel like if they want to make a new battle system, it should not go so far off the rail to the Pokemon tradition that it just becomes like a button masher. but it should, kind of preserve all the typings and the super effective moves and the status conditions, the abilities. So I think it's easy to say that the battle system needs a rehaul, but it's really hard to come up with one which conserves all the good parts of Pokemon. So yeah, that might be interesting. Do you have an idea on your mind?
I mean, like, I don't want like button mashing, like Mortal Kombat or the Pokemon Stadium games where you just play as Pokemon. I mean, I like something different, not the same, just turn after turn, but the same turn you can counter the moves, something like that.
Uh, but what do you think about the Pokemon Masters app? That was a kind of a different battle style. It had like the refilling
Oh
attack
yeah,
bars.
yeah, that might work. Yeah, that
Yeah.
might be a different way to go with Pokemon battles in future games. Yeah.
Mm. Like I don't know why Pokemon Masters had to have three Pokemon at once, but so I've thought about this for a long time uh, because I'm jobless, I guess. But uh, here is my ideal Pokemon battle system. Okay, so you have all the stats of a Pokemon, right? For example, speed or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, Pokemon with high speed, first of all, should just be able to move faster in real time on the map.
Yeah, so able to avoid moves
Exactly, right?
more.
Yeah, it should be like, say, faster player on FIFA or something like that.
Yes. So if you have a Pikachu against a Rhyperior, Rhyperior still has a superior ground and rock. The typing is different and it has an advantage. But Pikachu should be able to avoid Earthquake and other rock moves if it just moves around the map.
But that's a problem here. Like moves like Earthquake, so that has 100% accuracy, right?
Yeah,
Or like 100 accuracy, not 100%.
yeah.
Um, so what happens to that? What should they make that still dodgeable? Like, what if there's like a really skilled player who's playing with a level 5 Pikachu, like you said,
Okay.
and he is his reflexes are so good that he manages to dodge everything from a Rhyperior, and he managed to chip damage it and kill like a level 100 Rhyperior with a level 5 Pikachu.
That shouldn't be possible and that's not possible right now.
No, that's
But
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
if you made a game where like uh, it needs skill from the player to dodge attacks, you would always have super skillful players, like the competitive players, right? Those
yeah,
guys are just
you're
gonna
saying
like,
like something like Legend of Zelda where you can counter at the exact time and then hit the other.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say that's that's not how the Pokemon battle should go in the
okay,
future.
yeah, that's what I think.
That's just dumb. Okay, so you have a level 5 Pokemon beating a level 100 Pokemon. That's not the way Pokemon should be.
Okay,
But
actually, let me complete my entire argument for that. I mean, let me complete my point about how I want battle systems to be. So, yes, I am against like a accuracy 100 move missing a Pokemon at any cost, unless it's like, let's say, both the Pokemon are level 100 and one of it is uh, has like three times the speed, so it's like a speed Deoxys versus a Rhyperior,
yeah,
and even in that case, an accuracy 100 move, you should be able to dodge it only like 1 out of 50 times, even if you're super skilled, or maybe just make it completely luck based. Um, have a low statistical value. Like I know right now they still do the some of your Pokemon will survive a hit based on uh, your friendship to it, stuff like that. So that's purely based on probability. So I think it's like you get like a 5% chance of surviving a hit. So
Yeah,
similar to
I would
that,
agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. So similar to that, based on that, there should be like a really slim chance that really fast Pokemon can be made to dodge attacks. But I still believe that. So there's four moves for a Pokemon, and there's four buttons on a console. So each button could refill at different rates, right? The way you have in God of War, where you have your what is that called? The thing that
The
refills.
countdown timer. Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, based on the PP of a move, for example, if you have like a 5 PP move, it takes 5 times, I mean 4 times as long as a 30 PP move to refill. So you could spam tackle way more than you can spam hyper beam or something like that. So make each of the buttons stand for one of the attacks. Um, and like I said, more accurate attacks should be able to hit most of the time. Uh, and the damage can be the same as it's always been. But you need to allow the Pokemon to be able to move on the field. And I feel like you could have so many other mechanisms. Like if you made, if you did an attack rather than a special attack, the Pokemon would be closer to another Pokemon. So you could add another mechanism like if a Pokemon is closer to another Pokemon, an attack with lower accuracy has a better chance of hitting. So people might be tempted to use special attacks in some cases. They could add uh, new attacks that will like draw Pokemon closer or draw Pokemon farther away. I feel like this is a huge, once you kind of shift away from the static battle system, there's a lot of new things that you can add to your game. But I don't know, like maybe it's just too much work for like how many Pokemon are there? Like 800?
Yeah. We have like 800 Pokemons, but I'd still agree with you on the new battle system. You can map a single move to a single button on the console. So you have four different moves for four different buttons. But I don't know how it's gonna work for like defensive moves and then like stat changing moves. So
Uh,
I don't know how all the different moves can map out to four different buttons on the controller. But yeah, that would be different. Moving away from the static battles to something like a dynamic and more um, like how close the Pokemon is and how the map affects the Pokemon.
mm,
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
mm. So, oh yeah, that is something that I've not thought about. Like, especially moves like Protect.
Yeah,
Would you be
how
able
do you,
to expand
yeah,
it?
how do you like you keep a recharge time for it, and then which button would you map it to? I mean, you can have like the first move maps to this button, the second move maps to this button,
Yeah, you
but
just
how do you like time the recharge for each move?
based on PP.
Okay, yeah, that might work, but yeah. So you have four different moves. So name it one, two, three, four, and then you have A, B, and X, Y, and map each of the moves
Yeah,
to each of the buttons,
yeah,
and then yeah, that work. That should work if you're just going by PP. It shouldn't be that difficult for Game Freak to do it. I mean, we got really totally different game. God of War doing something so similar. Why can't they do it with just four buttons?
yeah. I don't know. There has to be something that we're not like.
Yeah, and I would also like something like counter the move or like avoid the move when it is easy to avoid, like how you said when the pokemons are closer to each other. So if one pokemon is using tackle and the other pokemon is using dig, so the dig should be able to avoid tackle if they're close to each other. Or say iron tail and you're using tackle, you should be able to like cancel out each of the attacks, maybe. But whichever attacks most powerful, that should have an effect on the other Pokemon.
Yeah, let's see. Like, I don't see it happening anytime now. It seems like Pokemon are investing a lot on these two games. But to be completely fair to Pokemon, like I started off playing Sword and Shield, being extremely skeptical about it. Like I did not want, like I was almost rooting against it. I did not want to enjoy it, but I actually did in the end. I still think the storyline was extremely dull. The story was bad.
You had your rival take a weaker Pokemon than you, and then he keeps popping up at different places, irritating you, asking
Yeah,
you to battle, and then he throws out a double. That's the most irritating part. Why do you have to make him throw out a Wooloo which evolves into a double? Oh my god.
yeah. So I think there was a lot of mistakes there, but I still enjoyed playing the game purely because of the wild area, I guess, primarily. And I'll be honest with you, I did enjoy having the raid battles and the candies. I did like that as a better system for training when compared to like
Hitting wild Pokemon.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely grinding and grinding, like winning the Pokemon League like 20, 30 times. It's just better to go on to the wild area, and it's definitely better than Let's Go.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, I was going to talk about Let's Go. I was just
yeah,
thinking about, oh my god, you had to keep capturing the same Pokemon
yeah,
again to level up your Pokemon in your party. That's not the. Okay. Oh my god. You don't get enough experience playing through the Pokemon League like 100 times. You get like 1,000 or 2,000 or even 4,000 for catching the same Pokemon like 5 times. That's that's just unfair. And you don't want to be capturing the same Pokemon again and again in the same game. That
yeah,
just that's another type of grinding you don't want in the Pokemon game.
yeah. So yeah, I do feel like Sword and Shield got a few things right. It did keep me engaged. I think that's working in its favor, but I would still like them to do like be a little more ambitious, I guess. Like change up the entire formula, see how it goes. Like make a completely new Pokemon game. I think a lot of fans would uh, take that chance. But yeah, but I still
If they make a new game, they should probably aim it at the older people who are playing the game, like the older fans, not just keep releasing a new game every year for young people or young kids. They should also take in mind that they have like fans who are older than 20 years old who'd like a tougher Pokemon game. That's why they have something called the Nuzlocke challenge for all the games. So yeah, when a Pokemon faints, they say it permadies and releases it. The
oh
person
my god, that would
the person who trains the Pokemon. So if that Pokemon fainted in their party, they'd release it and then they'd capture another Pokemon, then train it.
that is nope. That's really but no, I would definitely agree with the fact that we need a more difficult Pokemon. The last two Pokemon games, Let's Go and Sword and Shield, I think both the games, anyone who has ever played an older Pokemon game could go through the entire game without fainting once.
Yeah,
That is a problem. That it should not be that easy. At least add a difficulty level or something. Like if you also want the game to be there for kids, give them a lower difficulty. Um, but I
yeah, you
get,
can have like something difficulty like kid, and then you have like for the fans, something
yeah,
like give me Pokemon, and then just play through the story, something like that. Because in Emerald, you you can't beat me May in one particular spot. She's so stronger than you. You had to go and train your Pokemon to be like at least 3 or 4 levels higher than her, then beat her. And she takes a Pokemon which is stronger against your starter.
exactly. Yeah,
That used to make the game more like
interesting.
challenging. Yeah, and interesting. Yeah, but the last two games, nah, they just made it too easy for. any like hardcore Pokemon fans and gamers who played from Pokemon Red, the first ever game.
Yeah. Do you think maybe the game was more like Emerald was more difficult for us because we played it when we were small, and maybe if we played it now, we would also win without fainting once.
Right now we would, because we know where to go and how to train and which Pokemon to take to defeat the whole gym and the Elite Four and the champion, and you know which Pokemon to capture to beat
Me?
May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we would think that Pokemon Emerald would be easy, but it'll still be an interesting game because the story is so engaging, and you have like the legendaries are so good. Not like a two dogs and a stick. Really, it's a big stick and which becomes a small stick. And I also hated the fact they removed Mega Evolutions from Sword and Shield.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, they bring it back. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
want to see that come back too.
yeah,
I think that was a mistake. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
So if you had like a story from Emerald and the gameplay system, which is in Sword and Shield, yeah, we'd have a good game. Yeah, enjoyable game. Yeah,
yeah. I was extremely pro Mega Evolution too until I started liking Dynamax battles.
yeah.
Now,
Dynamax is also fun.
yeah,
I wouldn't say Dynamax is boring. It's also fun. You can capture like a Charizard and have it have a really different form when it becomes like a 60-foot monster. So that's cool. But I'd also like Mega Evolution too. So you can Mega Evolve your Charizard and you can also Gigantamax your Charizard.
I think that would be overkill.
No, no, I'm not saying
At the same time.
yeah, not at the same
Okay.
time, not like Giga Dynamax, yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying you can either Mega Evolve or Gigantamax.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think Pokemon, they I think they did make an honest attempt, at least to change things up in Sword and Shield. But I feel the battle system has to be the one to change. I feel like they're changing everything around it. Like they're bringing in new forms, they're bringing in new types of Pokemon, like the based on region and everything, and they're bringing in new game mechanics like the Dynamaxing. But I think the core concept of battling needs to change for the games to appear really new. Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on expansion packs? Should they have released the entire thing in the first game, and they're now forcing us to spend like another $30 on a game that we already bought? What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I would say I would get it. I am gonna get it.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not gonna get it. I am still gonna get it. And yeah, I would have liked it in the main game, but instead of getting the whole new game where you play through the whole game it's already played, an expansion pack seems like a better idea than releasing a new game called, I don't know, like how they had X, Y, and Z. Yeah, it doesn't have a game called Z, but I'm just saying, like how you had Ruby Sapphire and then had Emerald 2 years later. Instead of that, now we have an expansion pack. So instead of spending another 60 $70, you end up spending $30 and you get new content, not the same game. You get totally new stuff. You get a new Pokemon, and yeah, you also get a new area which you haven't even explored. So yeah,
yeah. Like, so do you think that it's justified because there's new Pokemon, there's a new region, there's a new story. So it's basically like a new game, and it doesn't cost $60. It just costs $30, and you also have the benefit of having your old Pokemon with you. So you think it's a win-win there.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't like lose the old save or lose the old map. It's just like an extra map. You just go there, get all the Pokemon, and you can go there all the time. You don't have like a totally different game where you have to remove the cartridge and then put the new cartridge or change this or change game. It's the same game, just have an extra map. So yeah,
I had never thought of it that way. Like that's an interesting way to think of it, because I have never been a fan of DLCs. Like I felt like if you're buying a game, you should get everything with it when you pay for it up front. Maybe
yeah, I
just,
agree with you on that. But
but yeah, like the way you put it, it kind of, yeah. Instead of buying, because let's be honest, if Pokemon are gonna release a new game, uh, not much is gonna change, right? Like for
yeah,
example, between Emerald and Fire Red,
yeah, Emerald was
it's the
after Fire
same.
Red. It
It's
was
just the same Pokemon, same game with different Pokemon and a different story in a different region. And you're saying the expansion pack is basically that, but you get it at half price. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Let's go back to Fire Red Leaf Green. So they had Ruby Sapphire, and then they released Fire Red Leaf Green with little tweaks. They took the tweaks from Fire Red Leaf Green, put it in Ruby Sapphire, and then released it in Emerald. So it's the same game which you give $60 for. You already played through the story, you already have all the Pokemon, but you still end up playing the same game.
Okay.
So if you think about it like that, I would say $30, new area, new Pokemon. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
would
I'm
recommend
actually
it.
looking forward to it. Also, and it
Yeah,
looks pretty good. I
you can.
hope. I hope with enough expansion packs we get the entire Pokedex.
Hopefully, we get like all the 800 Pokemon, but I don't know. We might not get all the 800 Pokemon.
I at least hope all my favorite Pokemon are there.
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely like the Gen 2 Pokemons to make a comeback here.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they need to get some love. That's why,
Yeah.
yeah. Every other gen has got all the love it could get. Even Gen 8, the the starters are getting Gigantamax form. Gen 1 is getting a whole new Gigantamax form. And you can already get the Gen 7. Those Pokemon you can already have in the game. So, Gen 5, I'm not even going to talk about it. It's a forgettable generation, so I would not play that game again or even get those Pokemon. But the other gens, they need some love. Gen 2 and Gen 6, the Froakie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
World's most favorite Pokemon.
Greninja. I would disagree with that. I'm
I
sorry,
like
I would disagree with that.
I like Greninja.
I mean, I like Greninja. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, it's not the best Pokemon. There are, I would say Rayquaza is better, and I would have voted for Rayquaza. And Rayquaza did make it to the list,
Yeah.
but
Even Lucario, I think.
yeah,
Lucario.
look, I mean, you like Lucario. I You love Lucario. You always want to train a Riolu in every single game. So yeah,
I think it looks
that
pretty cool.
yeah, for me, I would have. I mean, I would like to train Rayquaza in every game, but that's not possible.
Oh yeah, like when you think about it, there's so few games in which you can have a Rayquaza, right?
Yeah, you can have them in Gen 3. I don't know about Gen 4.
Can you get it on X and Y? I'm not even sure.
No, I
I
don't
think
think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't played post game. I just stopped after the league, so I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely like some Pokemons to make a comeback in Sword and Shield. I mean, if they get all the Pokemons, I'm all for it. Even with Trubbish and Garbodor, which
Why did
has
they?
a Gigantamax. I
Why
don't
did they
know
have to
why.
give it so much love? Like, yeah, some of the decisions that these guys make just blows
Oh
my
my
mind.
god. I would really like to get a Meltan and Melmetal. It looks so different and it kind of is like a Pokemon which everybody would love to play with. And then the only way to get it is through Pokemon Go, and you had to have 400 candies to evolve it. That's just lame.
Yeah,
And you get a Garbodor in Pokemon Soul and Shield when you just walk through the wild. Oh my god.
no, but I'm kind of gonna play devil's advocate there. But if a Pokemon was so easy to get, what's the fun in that?
Yeah, I'm not saying Meltan and Metal are tough to get. It's just like a grind. You have to walk a lot in Pokemon Go to get those 400 candies to evolve Meltan into Melmetal.
I think there's gonna be like an event or something where they drop like 100 Meltans. Okay, let's change this topic up again. Again, a little more, uh, how to call it, a general topic. What's special about Pokemon that you think has kept us playing it for so long?
Huh.
Because I cannot recall another game that I've played for so long, which is basically the same. Like, even from Pokemon Red to Pokemon Sword, the formula is basically the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You go through the whole map
Yeah,
defeating gym leaders or particular leaders. They're kind of like leaders in their city, and then you go and fight the Elite Four. It's the same formula throughout, like all the
same
eight
battle
gen.
system.
Same battle system. Oh my god. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Pokemon. Yeah, it was the Pokemon for the first four gens, and fifth gen. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about fifth gen because I don't like fifth gen. But yeah, it was always the different Pokemon and the different legendaries. I think those lured me to the game and try to play them. But right now, I would say no more new starters. Maybe a different kind of story, not like the same gym leader and then Elite Four, but something different. Like challenges, and then you get to be a gym leader. That'll be fun.
Ooh,
That might be fun. You get to be a gym leader. You get to build your own gym. You can keep changing types. That might be fun. I mean, yeah, you become a gym leader. You fight against Elite Four. You become a champion, and then you have like other people challenging you
challenging
for
you.
the champion title. That'll be fun. I mean, I think that happens in Sun and Moon. I guess I don't know. I read that somewhere. I haven't played Sun and Moon much.
Yeah, I haven't completed that yet. So, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've seen a few games like this, but not official games like the uh, what are those called? The custom ROMs that people make.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I've seen one where you can be Team Rocket and you basically go around trying to steal other people's Pokemon,
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
such a crazy game because it's like so. I don't know the name of the game, but there's like so much profanity. Like they're always swearing, and they're like trying to steal Pokemon. It's crazy.
Oh
But
my god. Another thing, I don't want a new team whatever. I did like Team Yell, they're just shaking their head and I don't know, they're doing some crazy shit. But yeah, no new teams fighting against us. Yeah.
a different kind of story, man. Something else. Uh, Again, we're like we getting sidetracked so easily. But yeah, why? Yeah, I've thought about this a long time too. Like why I keep coming back to Pokemon games after all this time. But
Maybe because we started playing at a really young age and we got hooked on to those Pokemon. And they still keep giving love to the favorite Pokemons and we still see them in the game and they're like, yeah, I want to get that Pokemon. And they also give us new Pokemons with new forms, like
so
Duraludon.
Yeah.
the one which you wanted to get, and then you're like, it looks like a skyscraper. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it looks cool. I want to get that.
That looks like shit. I don't like it.
I
But
like, yeah,
oh, so you're saying nostalgia is a big part of it, especially because we started playing.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. You're still
makes
nostalgic
sense.
about all the older Pokemons, and maybe some of the new Pokemons remind us of the Pokemons we cannot get in the game. Yeah, like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, even though Pokemon messes up a lot of times, every generation they have a few Pokemon that's like pretty.
Really good.
Yeah,
And you want to get that Pokemon, train that Pokemon. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe that's why. Yeah,
I also think the fact that you can have team of Pokemon that you can train from level 0 to level 100. It's almost like having a pet, I guess,
yeah.
or like a
You
virtual pet.
yeah, you get like your favorite team. That's your starting party,
Yeah,
the main six Pokemon, and you want to train them to level 100.
yeah,
It kind of seems like virtual pets, which you want to max out to have the best moves and beat anyone in the game with it. Yeah, I
yeah.
would
I
agree.
think yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. Like you do by the end of each game, you do kind of develop some kind of an attachment to
Yeah,
the to your party, and
yeah. Doing the Nuzlocke challenge with that, you might have a hard time. So
oh
because
yeah,
you get
that's exactly why I think that's such a dumb idea. Like
yeah,
I would
you get attached to a Pokemon, and then if it faints and then releasing it, no, I'm not for it.
I've not heard of this. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
I was just recently reading about it, and then I was seeing a video about it. So that person uses some Pokemon, I don't know, his starter, I guess. It faints, and then he releases the starter. I,
oh
I got so sad when he released his Pokemon. I don't know how he would have felt, but yeah, I would never release my starter Pokemon because you get so attached to your first Pokemon in the game, you don't want to lose it, and you want to train it to level 100 to be a beast. So yeah,
yeah, I think here's where all the professional players are gonna be laughing at us because
yeah.
those are
I
not the
mean,
strongest Pokemon.
we both have never played professionally or competitive because
Oh yeah, like I think I played purely
for the game,
just to yeah,
capture all, gotta catch 'em all. Yeah,
just to like show it off to my friends, I guess. But
yeah.
outside of that, maybe a few battles here and there on the online thing, but I usually get beaten up really bad.
Same here. You beat me up, so you know how good I'll be in competitive. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up? We're almost hitting the 1 hour mark. I want to kind of start wrapping things up here.
Um, I don't know. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah.
Maybe like particular Pokemon we want to talk about.
Oh, like, what about, do you think, so especially this is actually related to Let's Go.
Okay.
Sorry, what's the one on the phone? Pokemon Go.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Like, everyone in the world like playing Pokemon games on the phone. Like, initially for me, Pokemon Go was huge. I was playing it extremely actively because a lot of people around me, even people who did not have a Nintendo console, people who are not huge Pokemon fans, they were all playing it. So I was really happy that everyone was getting involved and I could battle with everyone. And it kind of died off, I guess. Um,
I think it was just another excuse for them to go out and do some exercise.
yeah, no, like I think that might be the one. So Pokemon Go requires a lot of effort
Walking.
from your part. So
Yeah.
what if they made like a Pokemon game, like an actual Pokemon game for mobile, and it was completely free, and everyone could play it?
Like walking to some place and then battling the
No,
gym.
no, 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 no walking. Like a regular Pokemon game.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, if it's free. I mean, I don't know if they'll release a game with 8 gyms, 4
No,
people, and all that. But
no, it doesn't have to be that like that. I don't. It doesn't even need to have a story, right? So it could just be battling.
yeah, that's what Pokemon Masters is, right?
Exactly, but like proper battling.
Oh, like Pokemon Go battling?
No, like Pokemon Sword and Shield battling, but on the phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be for it.
I don't know why they're so hesitant to do that. I can already see it being a huge success. Like everyone would want to play it.
See, Pokemon Masters died out because it kind of got repetitive
Oh
with the
my
same.
god, Pokemon Masters was such a bad idea. Like the game was set up to
Yeah,
require you to do like,
I mean, you don't get any evolutions; you just get the same Pokemon. That was a big
oh
turn off
yeah,
for.
and like it was like you have to keep battling the same guy a million times, and that's
Yeah,
how you get um, whatever you got in that game. I don't even remember now. I think I played it for like 3 weeks and stopped. But
yeah,
yeah, that was like, that was no good. So yeah, I don't know. I think we've run out of topics here. I think we're just going back on.
yeah,
Okay, this was fun. I'm looking forward to the expansion pack, and
yeah. Me too.
uh, maybe we'll do
Maybe
a
we can
look
talk
at.
about the expansion pack once it's out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm gonna stop this now.